persona. I honestly don't think this series requires an introduction. Honestly, if you haven't heard at the very least about Persona 5, well, clearly this is not the video for you. Cause I ain't about to tell you about this wonderfully unique and addictive RPG series that has stolen the hearts of millions of people around the world. However, just for personal context's sake, Persona 3 story is currently on my top 3 stories of all times. That's including video games, animes, movies, books, whatever you might. And Persona 4 and 5 were honestly two of the best experiences I've had as an RPG player. To this date, I have yet to find another RPG series that tackles topics that hit so close to home in such a vibrant and stylish fashion. I mean, the fourth game takes place on the freaking boonies and is still choked full of more style and personality than many other RPG games out there of the same year. The Persona series is great on many aspects, but there are two of them that are by far what makes this series as endearing as it is to all of its fans. The characters and the music. If you ever played any of these games, especially starting from 3, high chances are you got either this, this, or freaking this.
You never see it coming.
Stuck in your head for a good while at the very minimum. The series had a wide array of composers and talented people working behind them, but by far the most popular one seems to be this guy right here, Meguro Shoji. When you go a bit into the story of this man, you'll find out how when he started working on the series, he always kinda felt restricted due to how limited the space and hardware were at the time. But once Persona 3 began production, he went all out and made his musical vision come true. You can also argue Persona 3 was the first time this series became well known to its fans for its music. Ironically enough, one of his worries with Persona 3 and 4 was that the English pronunciation of the singers will feel unnatural, although this also somewhat clashes with his philosophy of why the songs are in English to begin with. You see, for Japanese audiences, besides sounding generally cooler, since most of them are not proficient in the language, the lyrics won't distract them as much as if they were in Japanese. This is also really ironic because while some of the lyrics are well, that. Others like Life Will Change and Heaven are less nonsensical and convey a more clear message. I just love that this guy creates music more in line with what the game's style and direction is, going as far as making Persona 5 outstanding soundtrack and acid jazz one, which is something you never believe will be in a JRPG to begin with. On the other hand, the characters are all a reflection of the themes and motives of the game, usually with the MC being a blank slate for us to insert ourselves in, giving us a sort of freedom in how we interact with the world, which ties perfectly into the time cycle and freedom all of the games give you ever since Persona 3. Of course, with each game having its own identity and message, it influences the type of stories and character we get. How rumors can end up legitimately influencing the world around us, a celebration of life and study of death in a sense. How media and other people's perception clash with our own truth of who we really are. And how to get free from our own masks and shackles in order to achieve true freedom in an oppressive society. All of these themes, in one way or another, end up leading each character to face themselves through the titular personas, and in many instances in ways that any everyday person like you and me can relate to, thus making them memorable and enjoyable to a larger audience. So with all of that sounding nice and dandy, it's only natural that these lead to much of its side content focusing on a story that we all know will be nothing more than an excuse to get the gang back together for more shenanigans. Regardless of how well polished that story might be, of course. And, well, Persona 4 pretty much opened the floodgates to what will inevitably become the very expansive world of spin-offs game the Persona series have. Just in case you weren't aware, after the massive success of Persona 4, we got so many side games from it that for a while, it seems like we will never get another numbered sequels, only more Persona 4 spin-offs. I mean, you get an extended version of the base game with Golden, count them, two fighting games, a 3DS dungeon crawling that also features the cast of Persona 3, and my personal addition to this whole shebang, the dancing series.
Here's another one.
It's showtime. Let's get going. Having some fun. Taking a chance or even two. There's no guideline for doing it your way. Let's just focus now on what lies ahead. Time to get ready.
Out of the blue, one day Atlus came out like, you know those Japanese arcade reading games that Project Diva based their gameplay on? Well, we're gonna bring the developers and make a whole fucking game out of it. But we're gonna make like the sickest remixes ever and you're gonna love it. Oh, and we also heard that PS Vita needed games on the West, so you're welcome, bruh. And thus, we got Persona 4 Dancing All Night, which was then re-released on the PS4 alongside two more games, Persona 3 Dancing Moonlight and Persona 4 Dancing Starlight. And just like that, we got our holy trinity of fun as hell games. So what, are these games good? Yes! Like, if you like Persona and rhythm games, this shit's for you, okay? But heck, even if rhythm games aren't necessarily your thing, there's just no denying that these games have a unique charm to it that no other spin-off in the franchise really have. I mean, fighting games? Yeah, I can totally see all of the characters doing that. Dungeon crawling? I mean, this series is originally a spin-off of Shin Megami Tensei, but a rhythm game. Like, who the fuck asked for that? Well, it turns out it's just a textbook definition of, I didn't know I wanted this, but now I need it. So, just in case you wanted to hear a rhythm game aficionado ramble on about why the spin-offs are more amazing than we give them credit for, or simply if you want to have an idea of why the hell these games were made in the first place, and why so many people find them so charming, stick around. I'll let us send boring back to nowhere. Being the title of this video, the charm and personality that oozes from each and every single one of these remixes and dances. Mwah. After all, dancing is a way of expressing yourself. And even if two people do the same choreography, it can differ greatly depending on their personalities and styles. However, it is interesting to see that in the case of Persona 4 Dancing, due to story reasons, it being the only one that's actually story driven to begin with, all of the characters were given a genre to dance to and had their movement limited because at that point in the story, only like two of them had actual experience as idols. But when you jump to Persona 3 and 5, them taking place in a sort of dream world, if you may, gave the developers more room for creativity, as this time each character was assigned a specific dancer and choreography for motion capturing. Now that will make you think Persona 3 and 5 are better when it comes to dancing, but remember what I said before? Dancing is a form of expression, and in a weird way, Persona 4 Dancing All Night suffers, or is blessed depending on who you ask, from what I'm going to coin as Bayonetta 1 syndrome. While yes, the follow-up games were better in some aspect, the amount of personality and impact the first game had makes it hard to place it beneath its sequels. I don't think I need to explain that there is something inherently cool about finishing a song with a Persona summoning, or how each of the songs has a set piece or stage attached to it that makes the characters just shine way more. Also, little details like Chie using her kung fu move or Kuma switching from her bearsuit form to his human form are just some examples of how each of the characters' dances fit perfectly with who they are. Plus, I mean, it's hard to brush Persona 4 Dancing to the side when it gave us the best dance number in the entire series.
Everyday and life to
I'm just gonna be honest, if your heart seriously didn't melt from that, you and I just cannot be friends. And you're probably dead inside. Because to any Persona 4 fan, that was almost a religious experience right there. That being said, that is another level on how the charisma of these games makes it an absolute joy to play through. The devs could have easily made all of the characters just dance in random videos and locations and just call it a day. But the fact that they put so much attention to all the details surrounding the characters is what sells it. Having Ken watching Aki in the distance while he dance bucks or whatever this is. Having Yosuke's movements being exactly what you'll expect from him and all his Europeanness. But more than anything, all the interactions such as Kanji blushing every time he's with Naoto, the besties vibes that just ooze from you and Yosuke, as well as from Yukiko and Chie. The fact that they actually went and did a whole version of the freaking Junes theme and had my child dancing to it in bliss so high, her whole world become fucking Junes. It is impossible as a fan of the series not to get a smile every time you see all of this. On another hand, however, it is all very cathartic in a sense too. Omitting the story of Persona 4 dancing, one thing I praise the story of Persona 3 and 5 is how much room it gives the character to just hang out and be themselves, which is admittedly very adorable and entertaining, going as far as to explore parts of their personality we will never see in the main game, as they will most likely not be found in a situation like this. Most likely, because Persona games are weird, like beach scene in Persona 4 weird. All of the conversations you get in 3 and 5 dancing serves as moments of respite between the heavy story of both games, with 3 being set at some point before the final battle, if not after Ken joins Cease, and with 5 happening apparently after the epilogue of the game. So it makes them dancing and enjoying themselves even more sweet and engaging when you see it through the lens of these kids are about to face oppression, literal gods, just went through hell and back, just let them have one night to just dance away their worries. If you actually manage to frame it that way, you're gonna start having way more fun with all of the dances, the silly costumes, the accessories, and it all will start making way more sense in your head. Yes, Aegis is a very complex character, being a literal robot with an artificial heart that struggles with whether or not she has any humanity in her. What are her actual feelings toward Yuki as they start with having her protecting him, but then evolving to something way much bigger? But fuck me, did I ever had to pause a song as fast as I did when I saw her Naruto running out of the blue, man. And then on another side of it, you have Naoto. It is very interesting seeing her arc on Persona 4 and then seeing her in this game exploring more of her femininity, adding a little bit of spice to all of her dance numbers. Not being helped also by the fact that she probably got the 2 best songs in the game as well, or at least the best 2 remixes. And just as with her, seeing characters dancing super cheerfully and screaming is one thing, but also listening to how they cheer on each other. Like Fuka and her... Or the investigation team cheering you during Reach Out to the Truth is genuinely very heartfelt and inspiring. Like, no matter what situation they're placed in, no matter how ridiculous it is, these characters never stop being themselves. Not even when they're forced to be glorified dancing Barbies and Ken dolls. This also extends the narrative, at least in Dancing All Night. If you recall, in Persona 4, a big part of Rise's story revolves around this other idol called Kanami, and in Dancing All Night, she has a central role in the game, which helps by adding more layers to this already deep and complex narrative. So not only do you get to explore a bit more of this light and goofy fun side of all the characters through their interactions and dances, but also get to add more to the already established lore without really ruining it or the characters. So, with all that being said then, the spin-off certainly has the characters and their personalities checked and marked with all of the golden stars of the universe. So let's move on to the music. So first we gotta start asking ourselves, is the music in the Persona dancing games actually good? And to start from there are many remixes and songs incorporated. Yes, like what do you expect? It's a rhythm game, they live and die by how good their music is. If they genuinely don't have good catchy tracks with fun levels of challenges as you clear all of the levels and difficulties, well, 1, I wouldn't be talking about this game, and 2, it would have soiled the reputation of a franchise with an excellent track record when it comes to music. So, like I was trying to say before, the game features a bunch of tracks and a lot of arrangements that were done by a bunch of talented musicians that have been working in the industry for a while. And also, let's just face it, Persona's music easily lends itself for a rhythm game from the get-go. Although, personally speaking, music being subjective and all, you know. I feel Persona 4 remixes are stronger across the table, with 3 and 5 having some solid tracks for sure, but not as many or at the same level as 4 Dancing All Night. Or Dan, for short. Also, for whatever weird reason, Persona 3 and 5 Dancing made the odd choice of dedicating some of its slots to the opening movie of the game or live-action concerts. And I mean, well, those are fine, I guess. They don't really bode well with the intended experience. If they would have been, I don't know, DLC, I could have probably understood it a bit better, but giving us those while making Shinji and Akechi's songs paid DLC content feels a little too corporate in my opinion. Especially when Persona 4 Dancing gave all of its slots original dances and videos, and then added extra DLC like Marie and Adachi, as well as freaking Miku. This might be why I partially gravitate to Persona 4 Dan, since it's the one I felt had the most passion put into it. But while it could have been possibly better to work on both games in completely separate time frames, so they will feel less like one game divided in 2 discs, making the older brother shine more brightly as it's more unique in comparison, Persona 3 and 5 Dancing also check all of the boxes I've talked about so far. And when those two decide to be good, you're gonna be tapping your feet and bopping your head as you enjoy how much all of the music in these 3 games slap. More than anything though, the main thing with these games is that they follow the main rule of any good spin-off. It adds to the main source without screwing over the continuity or established norms of the world, and makes sure to deliver a fun experience that we wouldn't normally have in the main series. And that's the main strength of all of the Persona spin-off games. They're fun, quirky, unique, and allow you to enjoy this wonderful universe in a way the main games wouldn't really allow you to. However, in my humble opinion, what separates the dancing games from the others is the fact that while I can see all of these characters duking it out in a fighting game, seeing them dancing around makes it so much more fun. And I mean, it will never stop being surprising how much it actually works. Rhythm games might not be for everyone, but everyone can appreciate a good song, and a great remix at that. And these 3 games being so simple in gameplay and never too crazy unlike other games of the same genre, makes it a really good entry point for those people who just want to have a bit more of Cease, of the Phantom Thieves or the Investigation Team, while also catching up to the latter as to what they've been up to. And I mean, even if you don't want to invest in these games, maybe check if one of your friends or favorite streamers are giving it a go. You might get an odd enjoyment of watching someone playing them, like those people who don't like playing horror games but love seeing someone else playing them kind of thing, you know? All in all, on top of offering a fun challenge that will keep the games engaging, making you aim for those high scores and king crazies, and perfecting all of the songs you love, giving you also an ample list of unblockables and maybe even a couple of new tunes for your favorite playlist, the dancing games are plain and simple, fun experiences anyone can have, especially if they already enjoy the main franchise these games belong to. I mean, seeing Nanako finally dancing with her favorite idols and Big Brother, or even being blown away by all of the personas playing instruments as they clear a room full of shadows, lamenting that little Koromaru is nowhere to be seen but trying to have fun on his behalf as well. Seeing this woman running, or any of these 3 dance, the gorgeous and amazing opening movies, as well as all of the little details that fill all 3 games with so much personality, even if they do resemble each other quite a bit, in some cases more than others, is what makes the Persona Dancing trilogy charmingly entertaining. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go and clear Heaven and Heart so I can finally give it a try in all night mode. And with that being said, let's dance, boys! Hello everyone and welcome to the end card. Again, if you made it all the way over here, thank you so much for watching this video. Again, I think I love you already just because you're listening to me rambling on in this last little bit. Fun little fact about me, I'm actually a huge fan of rhythm games, ironically enough. A lot of people sometimes get that I really like RPGs, I mean, Shocking, I know. Or even fighting games, but when it comes to rhythm games, people are usually really surprised. And I've always considered myself a very musical person, even though I don't really play any instruments, but I will usually pay more attention to how a game sounds and its music, at least at first, more than how it looks. Because to me, if a game does not have good music, then that's it. I wouldn't probably enjoy that game like 4% less. So having the opportunity to not only play a rhythm game from a series with such amazing music, but also so fun and charming, it's honestly one of the reasons why I just can't put down the Persona dancing games. I mean, for crying out loud, I forgot to press record when I was getting the footage for Dancing Starlight, and I just forgot about it, and I played for like an hour or two, and then when I realized, oh shit, I didn't press record, I just recorded right away because that was a very good excuse to just keep playing the game, right? But yeah, I also happen to have the collector's edition of this game, and it's pretty as hell. Like, just look at all the things that come in it. I absolutely love this cover, by the way. It's simply amazing. But anyways, this is gonna be it for the video. We're quickly approaching the end of Season 1 of Lion Saga, and I am more than happy that things have been going so smoothly. I mean, I would like to be able to make these videos a bit faster, and I do think I've become way better when it comes to script writing, been a bit more brief, and many other aspects of video making. But I do hope the next video will satisfy you, at least until I get around the Season 2, which hopefully won't take me that long to make, but I am probably gonna be having a small break, which many people might think it's odd, but I think that's a good way. Not for the algorithm maybe, but I mean, at the moment I'm just doing this because I want a creative outlet. Anyways, you probably don't care about any of the things I'm saying right now, but once again, thank you so much for watching this video, and for now, it seems that this will be our to be continued. See you guys next time. Jana!